Right, so it's 1st of September 2024. A normal September, if you take out the last 10 years or whatever, of being sunny every day, then a normal September, most days of September, but there may be quite a few sunny days here and there in the early part of September on some years, but 3/4 of the month is usually cloudy. The next problem I want to mention is threats last night. So there we are, we've got all this fucking traffic to stop me getting a say as fucking usual. Oh fuck's sake, yeah. I'll stay on this side. They do this every fucking time down this fucking road. Right, so I got it down. Well, I've put my mouth, I shut my fucking mouth, Christ, while you keep me to one side of the road, hammering the fucking traffic at me. Yes, it's sexual, Christ, very grey sexual, and purpley brown sexual, Christ. You crooked bastard. Right, you crooked bastard, you crooked hellbent cunt. So this is the start of all the problems, yeah. No, it's not. The starters were last night, but I'm getting fucking problems having a fucking say because the creator God's being fucking buckled and twisted to fuck with all this fucking industrial action and control force against me to stop me doing any fucking thing. Right, so firstly it's loud bikes to erections. My willy shoots up, a bike is controlled in a way to my willy like a pulley. But on the last few minutes of walking back yesterday, which I didn't state in the documentary, no timing lookalikes to people who sexually abused me as a child, tying to my willy shooting up. But they're cheering about it, making the suggestion that laughing and cheering. So we've had that to start with. Right, so if we come back to last night first before I go into today, because today's bad as well. Yeah, it seems to be mostly banging in sequence or knocking to say that you molested Sadie Dando. That specific name is just going off the fucking scale at the moment. I don't know who's causing shit or where this shit's coming from, but I've even had the police at my place about these threats in the past. If we go back to 2011 when Mr. Freeman was the police officer, when I was living at Bridgewater West Street, and yeah, he agrees with me, you know, that but he did tell me some things that like things have been reported, but they know it's not true, basically. Not just regarding that specific person, but in general. So there was threats. I was getting a lot of threats back at that time. But come 2011, the Sadie Dando threat and the Stephanie threat actually died out almost completely. They're still occurring, obviously, but when you compare it to all the other threats, there's about 1% to all the other threats. Come 2013, it was more sort of based on this sort of people saying that you're chasing Sally and stuff like that, and talking about Bridgewater knife attack. The actual Sadie threat was literally, you might have had a couple of young knobhead football player type people that are causing a bit of trouble. You know, the sort of rough type, but not the bearded type, the other type. The screwball sort of type, the fighter type people that were causing a bit of trouble. And then when I moved to Burnham, quite literally, the threat's been there. It's been there all along, but there's hardly been at all. Anyway, the next thing that they're talking about is breaking in at Christmas and saying at Christmas you're going to be burgled and losing all your stuff because of sexuality. Now, I made this clear in the past. I don't want to turn into a nasty person or write Bomb Hinkley Point graffiti or anything like that, which is Bomb Power Station graffiti, like I did in past, where I got in trouble back in 2006 area with the police, and they told me not to write that, whatever you do, saying out of everything you can do, just don't write that. And they're more concerned about my life than getting in trouble and anything like that. Just said don't write it, because and I haven't. And obviously, however, this control force setups and everything around me remains the same. But it did start to end, and even these setups that were around me were saying that I paid the price for everything come 2019 area. Then I was walking into sexual people, because they were trying to say that I've paid the price for raping Sadie when I've never raped her, and raping Stephanie, and even fucking starting digging, claiming I've raped Amy Weston as well, and Ian Dando. So, you know, they were just slamming all that at me. But they were applying that I paid the price. But I was annoyed by this, because, you know, I've had all this action set up against me when I've done nothing wrong, never had sex with them. And to tell me that I paid the price after trying to rip me to pieces for crimes I haven't committed pissed me right off. But the Bomb Hinkley point, they also made the suggestion that I paid the price for that graffiti come late 2019 or mid 2019. And I was literally going out, it was literally a 2-month period where I went out and there was only one threat, and I was mentioning it to the doctor. And I was actually walking into sexual people that are single. People 20 years younger than me were looking at me as if age wasn't a problem and stuff like that. And I wasn't hardly ever walking into these bearded types of people. So I thought, yeah, things are improving. But what happened was we went into a lockdown, and as soon as we came out of that lockdown, all this force was reconstructed and recontrolled and reorganised against me 4 times heavier than it's ever been before. However, the worstest times was on a trip to Dulverton in the car with my dad on the day out, when I went to Bridgewater Magistrates Court, and when I was taken in the police car, and when I had to attend Bridgewater Magistrates when I was driven there. Then the setups are as heavy as what they were today, but it's extremely rare. So yeah, I've got to keep an eye on that. There's talk to use energy weapons directly after Christmas to blind me or to burn me to death. So it's all kicking off to kick off at Christmas. I've had a clairvoyant reading yesterday. It wasn't a very positive reading. As far as sexual relationships go, she basically said, you're going to move, but your life's not really going to change much. But she said you'll be out of the situation of experiencing these problems like burning or stuff like that. She said it'd be a bit better, but she said it's not going to make any difference when it comes to sexual relationships or anything like that. She says that's a dark area at the moment, and she realises that I don't have anyone or whatever. And she said this is not good, and I have to tell you it's not good. But there's just nobody that she can predict for me as a partner, because there's nobody out there. And she's saying it keeps on being put through, or people keep on messing it up, and she said it's not all my fault. So I was quite surprised that she said that, but she worded it different to how I'm wording it now. I can't remember the definition of how she worded it. So you had that. She said it'd definitely be better than now. But going back to another threat that I remembered from last night, or someone said it, sexuality that is getting a break in. But if we go back to a section of setups yesterday, they were making a suggestion with one lot of setups saying that you're only getting a break in if you've raped a girl, basically. That's what they're suggesting. But I haven't raped any girls, so if I get a break in, which I've already had where my stuff is stored, how is that going to be, how are they going to repair the damage done if they can't let me have anyone? This is why the build-up of trouble and things are just going to get nastier and nastier, and I'm going to get nastier. The other day, I bought a laser off of eBay for the bedroom, basically, because I'm into those sorts of things. I've been into those since I was a kid, basically, or a very young man. And I shone it out the window for less than 15 seconds, and that 15 seconds it wasn't even shining to the ground. I was reported to the police by the neighbours at the back, and I had to speak to the police about it. Anyway, 15 seconds of opening the window. The following day, there's a whole load of threats outside, argumental, from the same area, to smash all my fucking teeth in, to kick my fucking head around like a rugby ball, calling me a fucking child rapist, and claiming I raped Sadie, and to be fucking bashed in and fucking knifed and put in a fucking hospital bed and injected with HIV. I've been told yesterday I'm going to have my fucking fingers broken off, and I'm not going to play music anymore. Every one of my fucking fingers are going to be snapped off. I haven't played any music for a long time. The last time I played music was in 2016 or 2017 on the beach. And that was old school Jungle Tracks. Right, I just made it to the catalytic converter hot point, and there's just been a couple of vehicles that have been timed deliberately. They're starting to do that again now. Yeah, so there's just been an argument. I haven't even mentioned the fucking problems going out yet. So someone told me I was sick, and then this person walked towards when I walked towards the thing. So I had to stop my camera because I wanted to keep the recording of what I was mentioning so I don't forget. Unfortunately, I don't think I've actually got the evidence of this person saying sick. But what I can tell you now is it's just gone into a full-blown fucking argument. This bloke thought I was Sven, saying that I'm a fucking rapist. But then he's getting confused because he said I've raped Sadie. And that comes under my name when that threat occurs, not Sven. So that fucking kicked off. So I got nasty. I pretended I had a knife on me, and I pretended I had a syringe filled with weed killer. And the bastard said, well, I fucking stabbed you fucking HIV, fucking AIDS needle, bastard. And I said, well, I'm not using coward substance, I'm not using HIV. This is going to fucking murder if you want to fucking fight about it. Just like when I'm being told I'm having a fight, and when I've been in fights before, people will try cutting my wrists and fucking throat. Though it's very rare that I have a fight, because most people just punch out and I sort of walk on. And if it gets out of hand, then I have to fight back. But usually in fights that I've been in, nearly every fight, apart from like little fights when I was a teenager or younger, there's only about 3 fights that's occurred. Each and every one of those fights, I was punched in the eye as well. I'm actually okay with that person. I haven't seen him for like 20 years. I've been punched in the back, but actual fights, there's only been 3 that have taken place since roughly 2005 onwards, and those 3 fights I literally managed to escape basically all of them. But when the fights take place, what they do is they try and cut your throat and cut your wrists at the time with like a penknife that they have on them, or a key. And that's the problem with fights. When you fight, you've got to be prepared to cut someone's throat and cut someone's wrist. Every fight, that is. Well, there's only been 3, but every fight. In most cases I'm chased. I've been hit, obviously, and I've just had to put up with it. And I shouted back after I passed, stated a conspiracy, or put it on the internet, and then fucking posted letters to foreign countries or whatever. But yeah, I've had to tell this person that I was going to get a knife out on him. I didn't want to have to be nasty, and it's a regular walk that I take. So I've had to tell him that I'm going to fucking put a knife in him. As simple as that. You've got to get nasty with these beastly bastards. Everyone give it some now. This is what I'm saying. I'm not a nasty person, but I got to be nasty because everyone else is nasty. So I got to get retaliation. So when people say they're going to fucking violently fucking smash me in, take my fucking life away, kick my fucking head around like a fucking rugby ball, smash all my teeth in, inject me with HIV, shoot me fucking dead, calling me a fucking rapist, accusing me for sexual rape, then obviously you've got to get nasty about it, you know. If everyone want to start this hard reptilian fucking accent, this dry and sarcastic fucking snobbery fucking nasty accent, then obviously you got to fucking have, you've got to get nasty these days. You can't just walk and let it go. Because that's all I've had all my fucking life, is people start me. Even when I was a fucking child, I was being accused of sick fucking rape and all that. 15, 16, 14. Not so much 14, but and in my younger years, when I was younger than that, I was having stone thrown at me. It was sort of quite a rough estate, in fact. I didn't find out until later on that when I was living in Willavington back in those days, it was actually one of the roughest housing estates in that area, in the Bridgewater area, in that time. And I didn't know that. I thought, yeah, there was sort of lots of burglaries, people breaking into cars, which is true, that was, and there's violence as well. But I didn't know it's as rough as what they said. So I was actually living in quite a rough area. Obviously not as rough as Bridgewater town, but for the villages that are surrounding Bridgewater, it's definitely in the top 5. So I was surprised at that. So yeah, I told him to go on my Facebook. I said it's all on there, but I've put several Facebook accounts on there, proper ones, my name, but there are channels that are inactive, just for people to look at if they give me shit. So I've put that on there for people to look at, so I can give them my name, so they can fucking go on there and look at all the fucking crap I get, in brief. And I've got left on my phone number, so that if they want to fucking start a row on the phone, which is it's a more pleasing issue, if I want to have a fucking row with them, then yeah. So anyway, let's start with the setup, shall we, of going out. Justin being knifed breaking too late, said. Justin getting knifed dead too late. breaking in, New Year's Eve child molester just, and then intense burning starts at 2:40 a.m. with banging at the same time this occurs from the neighbour in the room next to me, which is Peter. But that doesn't mean to say that he's causing it. I have to clarify that, even though I have suspicions. You know, it can't be guaranteed, and I'm trying to get on with neighbours, you know. But, you know, when the burning occurs, I'm not very happy about it, you know. So, I don't want to have to get retaliation about it. Right, Christmas, lost your fucking life. My feet are burning intensely. I don't know where this is actually coming from. And then, obviously, when I woke up this morning, I've woken up with sort of burny chest, swollen sort of tongue, slightly gritty eyes today, actually, for some reason. And whatever. So anyway, let's get to this morning, shall we? So there's shouting outside, there's whistling to threats. A lot of this Sadie Dando's being fucking brought up. Molested... No, sorry, hang on. Starting this now, molested Ian when I've never had sex with Ian Dando. There's a time period when I'm in bed, I fall asleep and then wake up again in about a 10-minute, 15-minute period, and I think I'm needing sex, and then times as I get an erection, there's a loud bike, and then the crow says shag, D-A-G, which is dag. Right, 400 cars walking out, 90% is suggestion, and I have to cut them up. I literally have to cross over, and it's almost gridlock. So obviously they want to cause as much fucking havoc and as much trouble with the setups as they can fucking start. Then I go into the shop with a cell core lined. Back goes a catalytic converter reversing at me. Another catalytic converter reverses at me just before that, and a motorbike starts. So spit talk is coughed into my hair, so I have to put sanitizer in my hair until I have a bath later, a shower. Back goes catalytic converter. He's sick, said. And then obviously after that, while going across onto the over the bridge, they're colliding cars in a pattern. Hold me to one side of the road, usually where the sun is, stopping me to get on the other side to extend the time that I'm on the bridge, and then obviously stopping me cross, colliding cars, and then obviously when I do cross, they're colliding cars, stopping me to cross still, and I get to manage to make it to the other side with more cars as the camera battery goes flat in the camera before I change it, before the same issue occurs again, or something like that. I think I changed the battery twice, I'm not sure. And then obviously, and that's when that full-blown row starts, and then you had the catalytic converter hot point problem, and then we're here where I am at the moment. There's one other thing I need to mention, and that is my door. Whether anyone's unlocking my door when I come back. This has happened 3 times now, where I've got into my place and my door's been unlocked. Trudy was on, one of the staff workers, and she said she checked the CCTV on that one occasion. The other 2 occasions it was different staff workers, and they were refusing to check CCTV, saying that no one else is going in the building, no one's got through the fire door, and saying that everyone has their own keys. There's only staff that have a separate key, so I'm not very happy about that, because if my stuff goes missing, it would go into Bomb Hinkley Point graffiti. They're going to they're going to go on a criminal spree for the rest of my fucking days. The fact that it's sexuality, I mean, you've got to take into account I've already had burglaries. That's the problem. The stuff where my stuff is stored contained all my stuff, so I've got to rely on the bit that's in my place, or I got nothing at all. So obviously you've got to see how it fucking affects me, yeah? And I was told many years ago, back in 2005, that the police shouldn't be hindering me until I've had anyone, saying, because this person is a rough person, but rough in a different time. And so it's like a weed smoker type person. And he's one of those people that knows that he doesn't think I've had anyone, he thinks people are making up shit, which is true. And there's people that are threatening to kill me in 2005 that have actually made up with me and said sorry, and saying I didn't realise that he had a bad life and stuff like that. You know, back at that time. Today, people say that people that had a bad life are sick bastards. People that walk around on their own without a partner are sick bastards. People that don't walk with like goodness or feeling good around them, you're known as a sick cunt. So it's different today, and it's more dangerous as well. So But back then, I was being hindered by the police, and they said, well, make sure he's had fucking sex first, and, you know, sort of whenever arguments outside the Palace nightclub or outside my place, or saying stuff like that, because saying, what was it? I can't remember. Because saying you're criticising him being pervert, he hasn't had no one, sort of stuff like that. This is what I'm trying to say. Even when we had the Fathers for Justice event, where everything was like, you had the scaffolding up around my place, where they're putting new windows in. You had the Rent-A-Kill and the Connaught van that was parked outside my place regular. You had the CCTV which was taken down. They opened the Palace nightclub for extended times, and also the Squib bar which was right next door. This is what kept everything safe. You had people that were trying to kill me under the nickname Jungle Justin, saying I'm a rapist, and then you had the other side of people who were rougher, mostly people from the estate who knew who I was, and they're saying he's been singled out. They're making it up, saying they're full of shit, and saying, and these are people mostly older than me as well, by the way, that were saying this. These are rough sort of drug types of people that were keeping everybody in order. It wasn't just one-sided back in those days, but unfortunately today is 100% one-sided. And also I'm mistaken as Savan, so not many people are giving me trouble under my proper name. And then you've got the newer people that are younger, because most of the people that were causing trouble back in that time were sort of the younger people, sort of people in their teens, early 20s, rather than the people that were in their 30s and 40s. And I would have been sort of, back at that time, I can't remember what age I was, somewhere in my 20s, I think. Yeah, that's what's gone on there. I was told by one of the staff workers that there's a Victorian, Victorian things on the railway track down at Stowford, near Barrack. But the problem is, they keep making it sunny. So I'm going down there and just hoping that it's going to be cloudy enough to get these pictures, because basically 365 days a year, you can now. Yesterday was quite fair to be honest. You had just under a quarter of a day, a bit like July the 9th, basically, similar to that. Sorry, I mean July the 8th, sorry. But it was slightly more grayer, where it was white cloud on that specific day. So it was roughly about the same. And then obviously you had again about a quarter of a day of hazy sunshine, the rest of the day sunny. So yeah, it's sort of same as that. That's a gunshot. Right, we're going through a rainstorm. It'll only be about 2 minutes and it'll bloody be sunny again. Just wanted to mention that since I've been out, there's been a couple of gunshots, a couple of loud bikes to erections, cars reversing at me, and I had to leave the railway station because there was a bearded person that was smoking a fag that was starting a row, and he was also in an area where I wanted to take a picture of a very old building, which I'm going to have to do when that specific place is closed. But it's a new area that I've not been before, so assuming it's cloudy one day, I can go down and take a picture, as simple as that, because it's a public footpath and it's a right of way, so I'll be able to do that on another walk. The other thing I wanted to mention is there's been a bike with a light on tying to an erection, and a few loud bikes tying to an erection while sitting here and walking to here. Seagulls just ha 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 ha, shot dead, just ha ha ha. So yeah, there's a bit of a disagreement there. This rainstorm has lasted a bit longer than what I anticipated, so there seems to be a little bit in the way of cloudy, rainy weather, but you still haven't reached the 2023 target of 6 days, or 6 24-hour days of where you've been out in the cloud or rain. So 2023, although it was a very bad year and a very, very sunny year, right around from start to finish, 2024 is still sunnier than that, unfortunately, where I am. There has been a lot of cloud about, but where I've been, it's been sunny. And obviously, if you look at 2023, it wasn't very good between June and November, because between June and November, there wasn't a single cloudy or single rainy day between that time period. Every single day was sunny. So if I was to put chalk on the ground, that chalk would have been there in June and it would have still been there in November without any wetter weather whatsoever that was around me. So, well, there might have been a couple of rainstorms, yes, but I'm referring to when I've actually been walking outside. When I've been walking outside, it's literally sunny right through in that time period. So the only rain that occurred would have been if I was inside or when I wasn't there, where it's sunny at a place that I visited on a bus trip somewhere, and yet raining in Yeovil where I live. So it'd be like that basically. But where I've been, or where my feet have been, it's been just persistent sunshine. Well, there's a few other things I want to mention because it's been mentioned in threats. Obviously they keep on claiming that I've molested Sadie Dando. If we go back before this year, or roughly the end of 2023, that threat was even rare in Yeovil. But if we go back even further, in 2021 that threat didn't exist in Yeovil. And when I was living at Burnham-on-Sea, the Sadie Dando threat was extremely rare then as well. Obviously it's occurred, but you look at 99% of all the other threats, that's only 1% of all the other threats, if that. So basically the 8 years I was at Burnham-on-Sea, Sadie was mentioned, but it wasn't really that often. It was, it's just not, it was just a threat that wasn't seen as irrelevant, or people didn't sort of take much notice of it. And it was the same in the last 2 years I was living at Bridgewater at West Street, at Southbourne House. But before that time, if we go to 2011 and before then yes, that threat was very bad. Very bad. Much the same as what it is today, maybe worse than today. But people found out that people were making up stuff, including the police officers found out that things are being, people are stirring shit or whatever. Because I brought this up when I was speaking to Mr. Freeman, and the old police officer, going back 15 years ago. And explaining the situation and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, that threat's on the increase. But the other thing I wanted to mention, one of the threats that seems to be dying down a little bit, but it's still not great because it's still occurring. And again, I'm not responsible for this. And that's claiming that I stole Sam's bike. So again, that's I didn't really know much about the threat. And it was Sam that actually told me it got stolen, because I didn't know nothing about it. And Emily, who was a staff worker, said she knows it's not me because they checked my flat at the time it was stolen, and then there's CCTV in the building, and they would have seen if I went in with a bike or whatever at that time. And this also goes back in the days before the CCTV kept going down. So that's that. But one thing in particular that's being mentioned at the moment, and this was mentioned last night in the early hours of the morning, one of the neighbours or someone, rough accent, maybe it's one of the neighbours giving a different accent, so it could be a neighbour, it could be someone else, but I'm going to give the information content, and that is Grace should be with Reese. That's what we're saying, and saying they're similar ages and talking like that basically. So I thought to myself, don't start fucking giving it fucking some, trying to dig at me, because the neighbours there or somewhere, or someone outside, something in that area, they got a problem with me speaking to Grace, which is one of the neighbours, and this has been going on for years. It's not just something new, but it was much more nastier in the time before Matty got evicted for knifing down the staff door early. He did actually come onto my level first before this knife in the staff door occurred, because there's blood next to my door, but I didn't hear him being that violent when he was on my level. So there's a slight shouting, sort of mild shouting, when he was next to my door in the early hours, when on the night that he went to knife the staff door. Then he said that, then they were talking about that's Peter's room, that's Peter. Then his shouting got a little bit nastier and he got more aggressive and started sounding like he was trying to hit the door, but I don't think he actually hit my door. He just hit Peter's door a little bit more, but I don't think he was actually to go to Peter either, because he said it's Justin's door. It sounded like it's more than one person saying that's Justin's door, that's Justin's, so Justin's room, so, sort of in the argument. So that's when he went over to Peter's door, went to, shouting near Peter's door, rowing, and then I was in the next room, who's doing that fucking, and sort of, then he went down the stairs, and then what happened there I don't know, but whatever happened, when I got down to the bottom level, I was told by the neighbours on the bottom level that it was very loud and very shouty, and then obviously that's what happened to the staff office door. That night I was getting threats from all over the place claiming I molested Sadie Dando when I haven't. I've never had sex with Sadie Dando, I've never raped her, when it comes to Ricky Hux, or Ricky, he had a lot of communication with Sadie. There's one evening I came down there and they went to phone the police on me, thinking that I tried raping Sadie. And it's when Ricky just gone home that I heard. I went down after I had a beer, so it's quite late, because I was phoned up by Ian asking if I want to come down or something like that. When I did come down, I said I've only been here about, 45 minutes, an hour. I said I haven't had any communication with Sadie or anything like that. So then they sort of phoned the police, or pretended to phone the police. So I said, well, anything you say to the police goes against you, because firstly you need DNA prints on Sadie and fingerprints to confirm that I've done anything wrong. And when I brought Ricky's name up, Karen Dando on the phone went, or something like that, when she was speaking to the police. So whether she really was speaking to the police or whether she was speaking to anyone else, I do not know. But I was speaking to Mr. Freeman about this back when I was living in Bridgewater and explaining the situation. And obviously he basically just said, keep yourself to yourself. In actual fact, when I was living at Burnham-on-Sea, the police tried to tell me, is there any way you can get your family off of the Facebook accounts friends list of the Dando family, or is there any way you can eliminate these problems in the early days of when I moved to Burnham-on-Sea? Because the police said, we don't want to see any trouble occurring back at you for things you haven't done and stuff like that. I've mentioned this on conspiracies in the past, not so much in recent times, or not the last 6-7 years. This would be about 8 years ago, or in the early days of when I moved to Burnham-on-Sea. And they say, because this specific, they said you need to block them or delete them off. And I said, the problem is I can't tell my family to do that. And 1 week later, things calmed down and the police were speaking to me, coming back and whatever else. So that was that, going back at that time. There's something I want to mention regarding Grace, which is a neighbour. I sort of speak to her, get on alright, but there's a lot of things that have happened in the past which is quite bad. And, you know, other neighbours have hit the roof and they told me not to speak to Grace and whatever, threatening to knife me down or smash me in or whatever, and to bash my door in, to break in. And the people outside, got around with people outside, so people outside have got aggressive with me, telling me I'm not supposed to speak to this person. And in the end, I sort of stopped speaking to her, not that to be nasty or anything like that, but things really did get quite nasty if we go back to 2022 and 2023, especially in late 2022, or from mid to late 2022 and the whole of 2023. Since a time period, Matty knifed the door down, or tried knifing the door down before he got evicted. I won't say his surname because obviously that's invasion of privacy and I'd be breaking the law if I said his surname. He basically, things started to calm down and I started to speak to Grace again. But what's happened now is there's some of the other neighbours that are there are getting quite nasty about it, and it seems to be coming from outside as well. So, and they're also getting funny when we're speaking to this Emma Granshaw, which is someone I used to know from Avalon School. Now, I've spoken to her a few times, you know, in 2022, and some people thought that I'm actually 20 years older than her, when she's actually 1 year older than me. Because she has smooth skin for her age, well, actually she's just going into negative attraction this minute in time. So but then again, you've got to take into account she is 44. So, you know, people aren't going to look sexual, you know, much longer. And this is what happens. I don't take to the non-sexual type, but, you know, people fuck my life up. They've been messing about with me, trying to put me down as a rapist and a paedophile and woman beater and all the rest of it. And it's fucking my life up, stopping me get anyone. So yeah, they made the biggest mistake in living history for my fucking time. Alright. So, yeah, so I nearly got attacked on several occasions. But it gets even worse, because I want to mention something else, and I only found this out yesterday, because I was going to document this separate, but I'm going to put it in this video before I do a proper documentary on this. There's 3 different documentaries I got to do, I haven't done yet. But, you know, so, actually I'm not that well today, because I've still got like a sore throat, swollen tongue, slightly burny eyes, and burning quite across my body and burning in the chest and struggling to breathe. I'm not saying that people are using energy weapons, and I also feel bloated and fat. But you know, something's making me fucking ill there. I mean, I've not had this before the beginning of this year. And it wasn't until Peter made communication or had friendship with his Matty before he got evicted that all this started. January the 1st, 2024 is when it all started. But it's initially eye problems. And then it moved on to sort of this burning sensation where I had to stay at my dad's. And when I came back after staying at my dad's for 6 weeks, I was accused of raping people in that area by the neighbours where I live, which is not true. And then they brought out the Sadie Dando business, and that was really the start of the really digging with the Sadie Dando shit. Right, so we'll get past that. Emma stopped speaking to me in 2023-ish and started doing like a spastic look. So I thought, you don't want to cause trouble. I know what the way she is because I remember her at school. She doesn't remember me. And obviously I'm not the sort of person that causes trouble, and I don't dislike Emma, you know. But if she doesn't know me or doesn't remember me, I respect that, you know. I'm not going to cause trouble and keep on or try and speak to her or whatever. If she wants to say alright, that's fine. I'll say alright back. But as it stands, at the moment she just walks past me as if she doesn't know me. And there was a time period where she thought I was Savan, going back to late 2023 or early 2024, because people were a bit shit-stirring, claiming I'm that person. So she's confused, and obviously going back before then I tried communicating with her on Facebook, but like I said, she doesn't remember me, and obviously I don't want to cause trouble for her or upset her, and I have respect, you know. If she doesn't want to speak to me, then that's fine, you know. I have respect for her. I've seen her a couple of times, you know, just walk past her, directly walk past. She sort of sometimes doesn't look, or she hasn't done that sort of spastic look lately, but she just sort of walks past, which is good, you know. I mean, it's not good that, in the sense that, you know, that things haven't gone the way of like friendship or anything like that. But you know, she's doing it the right way. She's not causing trouble. You know, I'm not causing trouble, and we're doing it in a way where we're not disrespecting each other or anything like that. So yeah, I'm good with that, because you know, I like to respect people even if they don't sort of remember or like me. So I have noticed, though, if we go back, because it's happened in the past as well, it's always a sexual type of people that don't remember me. Yet if it's people like Lisa, they do remember, you know. But I don't take to the type like that, and that's the only type I'm being referred to. But I've done documentaries regarding sexuality, being told to go negative attraction, people older than people that raped me as a child by 20 years at the time, you know, 20 years on top of the age that they were at the time it happened. Telling me to go with people older than when Jesus Christ was crucified, and telling me to go with negative attraction. You've got to take into account all my enemies were fucked people in their teens, 20s and 30s. I'm known as a sick cunt if I don't go with anyone over the age of 40. Well, there is a bit of bad news, and I only found this out yesterday. That lady that looks like a poodle dog, the one I said that was known as the ugliest lady at the Yeovil College back in 1996 area, where in my age group she's probably the nearest I can fancy, and sexy, and she's still got smooth skin, which is very rare for people. Where I thought she was a couple of years older than me, because she looked taller than me and looked older than me when she was at Yeovil College. Now I still don't know what her name is, I can't remember, but I know that the sister, they were speaking on the bus. I couldn't make out the conversation properly because there's a lot of traffic and a lot of whatever. Her sister, I think, is named Gemma, and she's mentally ill. She's got grey hair, and I think she's a younger age. Well, anyway, this lady was taller than me back at college, but I didn't know that she's actually still in her 30s today. So she was actually younger. So she must have been, when I was roughly 15, 16, so she must have been 11, but it looks like she's about 16 because she's several years younger than me. So I don't know. She could be like one of those tall people that are very young, but she is actually younger than me by several years, which I didn't know because I heard the conversation. And because the conversation's between her and this disabled lady and someone else on the bus, I managed to hear exactly what was being said. So, but obviously there's a few things that I didn't hear properly because obviously there was a lot of traffic, so I didn't hear much of the conversation. I could hear parts. but I'm pretty sure they're referring to that person because they said they were going to go onto the train, sorry, on Saturday. I think they're referring to next week. Hang on, no, that's on Friday, sorry, that I said. Friday, getting days confused. Yeah, that was said on the Friday. Yeah, that's right. And then obviously I went on the back, because that's right. Because I went Glastonbury yesterday and had a clairvoyant reading. Getting a bit muddled up there. I knew it was said, but I thought it was yesterday. It's not, it's on Friday. Sorry about that. Yes, that was when I was saying that they're going to go on a train on Saturday. That's right. So this lady, it looks like a dog, whatever her name is, because I didn't get a catch her. She would have been on the train yesterday, assuming that I heard the conversation correctly. And she's 39. Right, so we got cars at the catalytic converter hot point. This is where I had the argument earlier. I just wanted to mention the traffic on that road below sounds excessive. And obviously it's raining, so I'm not going to be able to state anything. And that's where they get their goal. They do it every time it rains. If it rains heavy, they step up this action and they know they can get away with it. So you'll get stuff like knife point van, ripping you to fucking pieces, smash your fucking brains out. Message to you, little sprat, bash you down, knife cunt, knife to cunt down, stuff like that. Street Fighter Turbo, timing enemies into my direction, causing arguments and shouting and threats to increase, timing overhanging trailers to rip my legs off. You name it, when it rains, they step up all this action. So I've got to look forward to that walking back. Right, I just want to let you know that the highest day in September was 25 degrees in 2011. That was record breaking. I can't remember if it's record breaking or it's the first time in my whole life I knew September to be 25 degrees. And that was just on a couple of days. And that was 2011. Take that away, every September before that time, temperatures were well below that figure. Every year since I was born. And then obviously last year you had 30 degrees. But even that, when it was 25 degrees, was a matter of just a 3-day period. That was it. Going back to 2011. 2003 had some hot weather, but I don't recall September reaching that. But earlier in the year it was hot. I can't argue with that. 2001, I think it was the start of the extremely hot summer weather. But then again, people are saying 1976 was a very hot year, so I don't know. It's sort of, in my lifetime, I'd probably say 2001's the start of the very hot weather. I'm not actually sure if I deleted this recording off, so I'm going to redo it just in case, but it might already be on here. Earlier on, I passed an old person with an old lady, and they were saying that I always see that gentleman there, so they were referring to me, always around the thug life community, saying always seems to be around the yobbish people when I see him, so always the yobs that are around me when he sees me. So sort of joking to each other. But you know, they weren't really interested if I heard it. But that's what they were saying. 1 hour 40 something minutes, just over 40 minutes of rain or cloud today. That's incredible.